Rev up your engines!
Well, as I say, I don't listen to the words come out of people's mouths, but sometimes you have to. Toyota plans to give their new mild hybrids a new name. It didn't sound green enough, right? So instead of calling them the mild hybrid pickup truck, the Hilux that they make, instead of calling it a mild hybrid pickup, they're going to call it, are you ready for this? Toyota Kinetic Assist. What do they say? By any other name, it's still the same, right? It's still a little hybrid. This is 10% better gas mileage, right? You spend a fortune building these hybrid drives, and all you get is a 10% increase in the fuel mileage. That isn't squat, right? But they don't want to call it mild hybrid. Mild hybrid sounds bad. Toyota Kinetic Assist. Oh man, it sounds so much better, you know? I feel so much better. It's the same system, but, you know, it sounds so much better. Our society is so stuck with form over function. It's unbelievable. It's the same thing as it was before. Let's give it a different name, right? People aren't garbage men anymore. They're sanitation engineers, you know? People aren't mechanics. They're technicians. Well, I'm a mechanic. I don't care. You can call me whatever you want. I'm a mechanic. I don't go by this modern moniker of trying to dumb everything down, make everything look politically correct. And in this case, mild hybrid is what they are. They're a mild hybrid. They're not a plug-in hybrid. They're mild. But Toyota Kinetic Assist, yeah, that sounds more professional. I wonder how many ulcers somebody got coming up with that name. I wonder what it is in Japanese, too. Maybe it sounds better in Japanese. I don't know. I'm reading this article, this electric vehicle online thing, right? And here's their headline. Hyundai battery electric sales surged to new monthly record in June 2023. Okay, what do they mean by surge? Yeah, you can always say, oh, wow. I saw one thing in Mexico once. They doubled their sales. One year they sold 4 electric cars, the next they sold 8, right? Well, in this case, Hyundai sold, in June, sales were 4,298 of their electric cars. And it was a new record, 4,298 they sold in June, right? You know how many new vehicle sales there were in the United States in June overall? 1,381,200. 1.38 million, right? They sold 4,300 of these electric cars. And they're breaking, oh my God, it's a new record. They're taking over. Don't be suckered by the media and this crap that we're all going to be driving electric cars. Hardly anybody's buying them. 4,000 something out of 1.38 million were the electric Hyundais, right? But it's a new record for Hyundai. You can put out these figures. As I've said for years, I learned it from an economics professor. There's lies, there's damn lies, and there's statistics. Meaning statistics are the worst lies of them all. And in this case, what a lie. Look, surging, new record. A handful of them compared to the 1.38 million. Anybody who believes this crap they're throwing out should check their brain cells. Don't believe the headlines. Look at the actual data. I always say follow the money. In this case, follow the data. You know, 4,000 of these versus 1.38 million overall. I don't think it's a spit in the bucket, right? It isn't a spit in the bucket. Don't think these things are taking over, right? I just read a survey. You know, 2/3 of Canadians said, we're not going to buy an electric car. And that's Canadians. They're more liberal up there, right? Damien says, Scotty, which is better, a Rolls-Royce Cullinan or a Range Rover HSE? Well, I'd say the Rolls-Royce for one reason. Understand, Rolls-Royce, a long time ago, got bought out by BMW. The Germans took over. And the Germans make better cars than the English do. So, I wouldn't buy either, but if you want the truth, you know, Range Rovers are endless money pits. And of course, they're now owned by Tata, and then the Chinese own a percentage of it. So they're probably getting a little bit better because they're not all the English stuff, right? But the Rolls-Royce stuff, BMW owns them. They got BMW engines and stuff, and they're good engines. I mean, but they're both endless money pits. They're for rich people. If you got a lot of money, you want to be a snob, ride around in one, feel free. But if you're a regular guy like most people, don't throw your money down the toilet. G-Boss says, Scotty, what are you advertising today? Are you getting that weekend overtime? All right, hey, I didn't advertise anything. I am set up. So people send me stuff and I test them out. If they're any good, I talk about them. And if they stink, usually I'll say they stink. Sometimes they're the more interesting videos. Look, don't buy this thing. Look what happens. It doesn't work. It destroyed this guy's car, right? So I get companies all the time come to me and they'll say, Scotty, what do you charge to make us an ad? And I say, I don't charge anything. So all you got to do is send me the product and I try it out honestly. And I take time too. Like people will send me something like, let's say, jump starter, those little battery jump starter boxes. And they'll say, hey, have you made the video yet? And I'll say, well, you got to wait at least a year because I'm testing this thing out. And the problem with those jump start battery boxes are some of them in a year, they don't work anymore. So I leave them in the trunk of the car, leave them in the garage for a year and then see if they work. And then test them out a bunch of times. So if you do send me something, don't think you're going to get an immediate response of me making a video about it. The only thing I'll do is I might say, well, I got this new product. I'm trying it out. Stay tuned. And we'll tell how things are going out. Like months ago, I got this plastic air compressor. It was all plastic. The tank was metal, but the compressor was plastic and it was oilless. And I'd never had one of those, right? And I've been testing it out the last 3 months and it works fine so far. I can't say how long it's going to last. As time goes on, I'll tell you. Did it last? Did it not last? Hey, I'm honest. Israel says, morning, Scotty. How can I tell if my '02 Honda Civic LX is burning oil besides putting my finger in the tailpipe? Check the oil. They still have dipsticks on them, right? Honda's never took them out. BMW and Mercedes took them out of some of their cars, but you got a dipstick. Watch it. It goes down. You're burning oil, right? If it's leaking oil, of course, you can lose oil too, but then you're going to see oil dripping all over the place on the ground. If you lose, say, a quart of oil and it's not burning but leaking, you leave gigantic oil spots everywhere. Oil spreads out. You'd have oil everywhere, right? Just check the dipstick. And then, of course, the other thing is take out spark plugs. It's a Civic, right? Get to the spark plugs, and if you see any of them are covered with burnt carbon, that's burnt oil. That means you're burning oil. Naomi says, if you had to buy one car to last you 20 years, what would be the make, model, and year? Well, I'm a cheapskate. I always buy older cars, right? Let's say you're going to buy a brand new car. I would say probably the best bet would be to get a Toyota Camry. They still offer them with actual automatic transmissions, not CVT, 4-cylinder engine, get 40-something miles a gallon, excellent cars. You could say the same thing about Corollas. They're smaller, but they've got CVTs. I don't like CVTs. Now, if you're talking about buying a used car, go get an old Corolla, old Honda Civic, old Camry, old Accord, whatever, that's still in good shape, and buy it. But if you're talking new and you want it to last 20 years, I'd say the Camry would probably be your best bet. Scotty's Encounter says, do you like Teslas? Well, you haven't been following me long. I'm not a fan of Tesla at all. But there's various reasons behind it. One of them is the hypocrisy of Elon Musk and that company. He didn't create Tesla. Another guy built Tesla to make a small amount of luxury electric cars. That was his plan, right? And then Elon bought the company, wanted to sell it to everybody. Take other electric car companies. If you have a non-electric car, your car has an OBD port that you plug in for diagnostics, right? Every car sold in the United States has to have them if it has gasoline or diesel engine. By law, they don't have to put those ports in electric cars because theoretically they don't pollute, and the OBD analysis is to stop pollution, right? Elon the swine, he doesn't have OBD ports on his Teslas, right? So guys like me, we can't plug our computer in and analyze the problems, right? Because they don't have that port. The Nissans do, the Fords do, the other electric car companies, all the ones I saw, they have OBD ports, so we can work on the cars and fix it for you. He doesn't do that. He keeps the stuff and the information to repair them pretty much secret, so his places make the money fixing them, charge people a small fortune. He's totally intent on selling as many cars as he can, so he's production into building new cars. He doesn't have spare parts. You get in a wreck in a Tesla, I've seen people wait 3 months for a fender. And the cars are so specialized. Got on the street here in Portsmouth, Rhode Island, he got a flat tire in his Tesla. There's no spares, and it had ripped the tire, so the tire was destroyed. He had to have that car towed from Portsmouth, Rhode Island to Albany, New York to get it fixed. Just absurd. And that's just a tire gone bad. That's why I don't like it. Horrible system. They're not put together that well. They don't make it so people can work on them. I'm not a fan. Sorry for 5601 says, what do I do if my parking brake isn't strong in my '07 Toyota Sequoia? Well, it should be strong, right? You've got a mechanical one. It's an '07. It's not one of those electronic BSs, right? The cable's adjustable. Could be the cable has stretched. So if the cable's stretched, you can adjust it and make it tighter. Under the vehicle, there's nuts you can loosen and tighten them up to make the cable tighter. That could easily be it. Now, if that doesn't help, then you have a problem with your parking brake. You got disc brakes for the brakes, but inside is a drum for the emergency. You'll take it apart and look, maybe the drum's worn out or something. Usually, though, you can just adjust the cables. Most people don't wear the parking drums out on a Sequoia unless they were dumb and they left the parking brake on and drove down the road, and it will burn itself out. So in normal driving, you just need to adjust it. Then it'll go back to working again. Well, they don't make them like they used to. Check it out. Here is a brand new Husqvarna lawnmower, mowing the lawn for 5 hours, and it broke already. You can see the bolt that held the pulley sheared off, right? Husqvarna used to make really good stuff. I got an old Husqvarna chainsaw, which is really good. So got a new one. It was kind of a piece of crap. It's like everything else. These companies get a name, they build on the name, and then what happens? Boom, they start making crap. You paid a lot of money for the Husqvarna, and a bolt sheared off shows that they're not building them right. When you bolt a bolt on, you're supposed to use a torque wrench, and it will say so many foot-pounds of torque. I don't know what it is on a lawnmower, because my data system does not do lawnmowers. It does cars and trucks, right? Maybe they used an air impact. Made it so tight, it sheared, now it broke off because they didn't build it right in the first place. Like I say, they don't build stuff like they used to. A lot of the stuff where they used to make it near Germany, they're making them in different places now. And of course, the quality goes, just like I warned people. Don't buy a Ford or GM made in Mexico. Cheaper labor. That's the only reason they're making them down there. And the quality isn't as good. Now, you can always tell opening the door of a car where it's made. And even if the line scumbags, it'll just say, oh, no, GM, North America or something, right? The numbers all mean something. You can look it up. If the first number is 1, get on your phone. Google. What does 1 mean on the first letter of my VIN? Say, well, that means it's made here. First letter, number, tells you where the car was made. I wouldn't advise buying one made in Mexico. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.